This is the Guns Magazine podcast, episode number 63. Hi there, and welcome to the Guns Magazine podcast. I'm your host and the editor of Guns Magazine, Brent Wheat. Thanks for joining us as we talk to the interesting people who make up the world of shooting, hunting, and the firearms industry. The gun industry, indeed our entire society, has seen some major changes in the last year. In today's episode of the Guns Magazine podcast, we talk to Gunsite Academy CEO Ken Campbell about some of the changes he's seen among students since all this craziness has started, and what the future holds for the training industry and, indeed, firearms in general. Now here's my talk with Ken Campbell from Gunsite Academy. Well, good afternoon, Ken.
Hello, Brent. How are you today?
Well, I'm glorious, as usual. How are you?
It's 66 degrees here in the high desert of northern Arizona at Gunsite. The sun is shining and possibly blue skies and marshmallow clouds. Life is better than I deserve.
Well, with all the craziness of the last year in the gun industry, in the world of shooting, it has affected everything. And you and I were talking the other day, and you said it's even shown up in the training industry.
It has in many different ways. Let's start from back at kind of the beginning, about mid-March, when all the panic hit on all this and people couldn't travel and so on. We had about 3 weeks of people dropping out of classes because they couldn't travel and they were scared to death and things like that. But about 50, 60% of those folks said, hey, hang on to my deposit. I'm coming back later. So we had about 3 weeks of that. Then we had about 2 weeks of flatline. And then things started climbing as riots and violence started happening, more unrest.
No. Peaceful protesters. Those were peaceful protesters.
Yeah, that's right. The riots and violence were only last week. It was peaceful protest for over 100 days in a row in Portland and so on.
Exactly.
But again, I digress. So then our numbers started climbing. Now, we've been very fortunate and blessed here at Gunsite. The last 4 years have been record 4 years for students. So I was really kind of concerned that 2020 would be a great big asterisk. But that ended up not being the case. We did not break 2019 student numbers, but gosh, we were darn close to it. And with everything else going on, I can't complain about that. So we saw some changes there. And I'll kind of hit all these bullet points, then you can pick the ones you want to go back and visit with further.
Okay.
More and more folks coming that are absolute new gun owners. They apparently read Jeff Cooper when he said, just because you own a piano doesn't make you a musician. They took that to heed. So anyway, that's tried to be the Reader's Digest version, and we can expound on any or all of those.
Well, okay, probably the most interesting thing of everything we've been talking about lately is you said all the new students, especially first-time gun owners. That has been something that we've talked about a lot in the industry and certainly in the training industry. What kind of folks do you see that aren't your quote-unquote traditional gun owner or Gunsite student?
You know, we're the oldest privately owned and operated shooting school in the world. We've been here 45 plus years. So we've seen a wide gamut of folks. But most of the folks that came to take that first Gunsite class were familiar with guns. They weren't the absolute brand new, bringing me something in a box that still has the cellophane wrapper on it. Once in a while we would get those. But now we are seeing more and more of the folks coming that have not shot, or they fired just a few rounds out of the gun. And for an example, the 250 pistol class, our classes are numbered like college courses. The 250 pistols are level 1 class, 5-day. We normally max it out at 24 students. So we've got a student to instructor ratio of 1-4 on the firing line. Well, all of our 250 pistol classes from about last April up until this week have doubled. That is, the first one filled, so we had to add a second one. This week, we did not add a second one, but we're maxed out in this class. So we're seeing more and more of people taking training, but a larger percentage are absolute brand new virgin gun owners.
So what, from a training side, what kind of problem does that present for you and your instructors?
Well, I hate to use the word problem. It's more of a challenge. But, when you got let me just throw in my crass commercial message here. When you got the best instructors in the business, we can meet that challenge. So what it does is we've got to work a little harder, give them a little more one-on-one, literally on loading, unloading, the safety rules. We've really got to pound those basics into them. But, the upside to that is that's building them a proper foundation from the beginning. We're not breaking bad habits. When you and I first started taking real firearms training, we had bad habits that we'd learned from each other, from less than professional instructors, friends, dads, granddads, and so on. Well, when you got that brand new clean slate, that makes things a little bit easier for our instructors to be able to teach these folks. But I'll tell you something that we're even thinking about doing. We're tossing it around in staff meetings. Our classes run Monday through Friday. We are considering adding a Sunday prerequisite that if you want to come pay a little extra money, you can come on Sunday and you'll get some good basics on Sunday so that on Monday, when you start in, you're just not quite so overwhelmed with the amount of knowledge we throw at you in that week.
Yeah.
So we're seeing more and more of these new folks, and it is a challenge, but we've just got to, as the modern technique that Jeff Cooper developed has evolved, we need to evolve what we're doing right now to make sure we best serve these students and send them out the Raven Gate as strong as we can.
Well, I got to say that gun owners, generally speaking, if we're going to stereotype here, I'll stereotype, quote unquote, us. We tend to be politically conservative, and we have a certain worldview. And you were saying that some portion of these new students don't necessarily share in those same political views, and it's been sometimes an interesting mix.
It has been and continues to be. But, again, that's that challenge. That's an opportunity. We're getting folks that are of a more liberal mindset. Let's use that term.
Sure.
And they aren't gun people. They aren't conservative minded, but they have come to the realization it's not rainbows and unicorns in the world. They've got to learn to be able to take care of themselves and their family. So now they recognize, well, maybe this Second Amendment thing is, I will take advantage of this. So when we get them here and we work with them, we train with them, that's an opportunity for us to make them realize, gosh, these conservative folks, they put their pants on just like I do every day. And they're nice people too. And I do kind of like them. And maybe we can bring them over from the dark side. And, I'll tell you another example of some of the folks that we're seeing that I make a joke like that, come over from the dark side. Well, all I'm doing is having fun. You know that.
Right.
But some of them take greater offense to humor like that. And gosh darn it, throw a joke right back out at me.
Yeah.
I find that. None of us do. But we've got to be a little more, I'm not going to say we're going to be politically correct. We need to be a little more careful, I guess. In some of those terms so that we don't offend them. Again, this is our opportunity to make them realize, gosh, maybe I do need to look at these political candidates differently and make sure they do support the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and particularly the Second Amendment.
Exactly. And if looking at some of the stuff we've seen here in the last few days, the First Amendment, because I think the Great Purge is on.
Yes. I just sent a message last week, late or first of this week, to our IT type folks saying, okay, who hosts our web services, who does this, who does that, how often are we backing up everything we've got, and who is our second choice to go to. If you remember a few years ago, Intuit suddenly and unexpectedly cut off our credit card services because we're a firearms related industry thing. And that got a lot of traction around the firearms industry, a lot of press on it. And I will say that Intuit did come back to us and make us whole from the financial losses we suffered. So good for them on that. but we had to go find another credit card server that is pro Second Amendment. And we're very happy. It's a company called Blue Dog. We're very happy with them and still very displeased with Intuit, even though they did come to us and write us a check. We didn't sue them. Don't get me wrong there. We're not litigious in that nature, but they realized that they made an error and made us whole on that. But we've got to have a backup plan for our IT services in the event whoever our provider is now decides, you have evil guns, and I don't know how you can look at training as evil, but I suppose they can.
Well, they can, and when we're done talking, we'll go offline, and I'll tell you some of the hot gossip I've heard, but it's really frightening from a free speech standpoint. But moving along in the same vein, though, talking about politics, now I'm going to have you put on your Karnak the Magnificent headdress and read the tea leaves. We've all talked about what we think is going to happen with the new administration and their strong anti-gun plank. What do you think that's going to do? Well, what do you think is going to happen, and how's that going to affect the training industry?
Well, the camel's nose is not just under the tent. I mean, the camel's worked his way well into the tent now.
Yeah.
And I'm concerned about fiats. I'm concerned about executive orders, that you can tie those up in court, but we all know how many years or decades sometimes it takes for things to get finally decided by the Supreme Court. I'm concerned about taxes, whether you're going to put taxes on primers, gunpowder, components, training, the guns. I'm concerned about, again, executive orders or ATF-type fiats on what is legal, what isn't legal. For instance, like with the pistol brace recently, where they said, these are going to be they're legal. Oh, wait, we think they're going to be illegal. Oh, wait, no, they are legal.
Yeah.
So I'm worried about no oversight on things like that. I'm worried about the taxation. It's just deeply concerning. And from the training side of it, again, we train everybody from a little old lady who's a door greeter at the big box store to the CIA, to the military, to our Special Operations Command folks. So what's bad about education and training? And if we make that so hard for the Joe the plumber who owns a gun legally to get good training, why do you not want them to have training?
Well, exactly.
So there's lots of concerns, and the hypocrisy is just thick with them. They are guarded by private security or professional security, whether it's Secret Service or Capitol Police or whoever it happens to be. They are protected by them. Well, a lot of this audience can't afford that.
Yep.
They are their own first responder. And you and I spend our lives in law enforcement, and they call us the first responder, but really it's the victim is the first responder.
Yeah.
And we'll get there when we can and as soon as we can and do as much as we can, but it's up to them to save the day initially.
Well, I remember when we were teaching classes, you always made the point of, if there's going to be a problem, call me. I'll call my friends. I'll call lots of my friends. We'll bring guns and red lights and all that stuff, but you got to hold the fort until we get there.
You do, or have enough knowledge and education mindset to be able to avoid it. If training gets compromised or challenged or made so expensive that people can't afford it, well, again, the well-to-dos can, but what about the guy that lives down the street or the lady that's raising 2 kids on her own? She needs to be able to afford that firearm, the training, the ammunition, so she can be empowered and be able to protect herself and her kids and her family. It's not just the Oprahs of the world.
The anti-gun Oprahs.
Absolutely. And she is. But she has a personal security detail.
Exactly. And they're probably armed.
Yeah, what's that meme that says, convince me I'm wrong, the guy sitting behind the table? Yeah, convince me I'm wrong. She doesn't have an armed personal security detail. We all know she does. Have them bring their credit card, her credit card. I'll be happy to train them here at Gunsite. And maybe we'll train her. Maybe we can influence her. There's so many of the celebrities that are anti-rights. They get so much publicity, but there's a lot of celebrities. We see them here at Gunsite that are very pro-gun, very pro-Constitution, but some of them we have to keep confidential because they know they will be blacklisted.
Yep.
The one comes to mind, and again, very professional, a founding member of a major organization, let's just call it that. So what are they going to do to you? Well, I still sell my product, and I'll get blacklisted. This gent has a firearms blog that he writes, but he uses a pseudonym.
Yep. Well, just from our conversations, I know of a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member who is an avid shooter. I know this is funny because I have tried to convince several of these folks to do, I was even saying, how about we have you on the cover with a bag over your head and talk about how, you know, the cancel culture prevents you from, you know, basically engaging in your livelihood because you don't accept the narrative. And they all said, man, that's a great idea, but I ain't doing it.
Yeah, not me. Yeah, not me. It's if it was golf, if it was polo, if it was, you know, somebody, but not the shooting industry, not firearms. That's bad, evil. Yeah, and that's a shame. I don't grasp it. I'm just an old country sheriff, but I can't grasp the hypocrisy of all that.
Yeah. Do you see things easing up on the ammo front, or what are some of the steps you guys are taking?
There's a lot of problems happening here. We started buying a year's worth of ammo in advance during the Obama years when ammo problem popped up. That is, I would normally have 2022 ammo in my Connexes right now. So this all hit March 15th. Price of ammo started drying up. The price of ammo started going up. Well, we offer what are called ammunition packages. That is, if you take a 250 pistol class, we will sell you 1,000 rounds of ammo of your particular caliber for that class. Well, people quit bringing their own ammo. Well, people could ship their own ammo in, they could bring it, or they could buy the ammo package from us. And we were selling, let's say 9mm. We were selling it roughly $15 a box, which was a little high when you could buy it, you know, for $9.99 or whatever, but it's here, you don't have to ship it, and so on and so on. Well, now everybody's getting their ammo. Well, we went through all of the 2021 ammo in 2020. So we'd been buying from a major ammunition manufacturer that was experiencing significant financial difficulties. And when I went to check on the rest of my 2021 ammo, as well as my 2020 ammo, as well as my 2021 order, they said, oh, this is October. We're not making any more ammo to the first of the year. It's any wonder why they're in bankruptcy. But again, I'm just an old country sheriff. So fortunately, we also had a partnership with another major ammo manufacturer in the industry, a company called Double Tap out of Utah. Mike McNett's been making quality ammo for many years. He makes ammunition. They put Colt's label on it, SIG's label on it, and so on. Well, Double Tap has stepped up, and they are keeping us in ammunition still at a very reasonable and fair price. We are working with them. We're trying to help them out in finding components. The key component everybody tells me that I talk to in this business is the primers. Mm-hmm. But as a result of that, we still have ammo packages available. They're still at a very reasonable price, and you don't have to fool with shipping the ammo or bringing the ammo with you, whether you're flying, driving, using UPS or whatever. Now, and they've also held the line on pricing. Now, excellent. How long is that going to be? I don't know. That's dependent on what his suppliers are charging him. So by the grace of God and some shrewd business people, Double Tap and Gunsite continue to be great partners, and I will sing their praises long and loud because of that. So, but it's going to be a problem. And again, the folks we've talked to saying, we're a year behind, and some of them are afraid to purchase new equipment and make big capital expenditures because who knows what's going to happen. Will they shut ammunition, make it so hard to sell it with the new administrations, or will this all of a sudden turn around and then there'll be a glut of ammunition like there is hand sanitizer right now? So it's a tightrope they're walking there.
Well, I had to laugh. You were telling me as a public service announcement, if you're going to Gunsite in the near future and about Thursday you're out of ammo and you want to buy another 1,000 rounds.
Yeah, don't ask.
Hey, give guys credit,
Yeah, we make that brief on Monday morning. The students is like, look, we know how much you're shooting. We've been teaching this class for 45 years. So on Thursday, don't go in and say, I need 500 more rounds to finish the week. And we can't do. We just can't, because we got to have enough ammo for next week's students to have their 1,000 rounds and so on. But the folks here are real good about that, and we've got the best clients in the business.
Yep. Now I'm going to ask something that you probably don't want me to ask, but what would happen if you guys ran out of ammo?
That's going to be a challenge. That will very much negatively impact us, because there's ammo out there if you're willing to pay $35 a box for 9mm 115 grain ball.
Yeah.
But if you go through 1,000 rounds, that means your ammo is going to cost you, almost as much as your tuition, and that will significantly impact whether a student can afford to come or not. So that is a great concern of ours, and that's why we continue to keep working with folks like Double Tap to make sure that we keep ammo.
Have you seen any change in demand? Is there more demand or less demand for certain classes versus others? Obviously, the 250 is kind of introductory freshman chemistry or whatever, but you guys teach literally almost anything in the tactical world. You even have knife classes periodically.
Oh, we do. If you want a class in belt fed, we can do that too. Now, the ammo cost is going to be pretty high. We can do that. Yeah, we're seeing more in also the intermediate level pistol classes. We're seeing more folks in concealed carry pistol classes. We're seeing more folks in what's called pocket pistol, the J-frames, the Hellcats, the SIG 365s, and so on. More interest in those. The carbine classes, that is AR-type platforms. Not next week. Next week would have been SHOT Show, so we didn't have classes because you and I are off at SHOT Show together.
Yeah.
But the following week we have our first carbine class of the year. It's got about a third more people than we normally do in January. Let me explain. People think it's in the wintertime they think we're as cold as Flagstaff, and in the summertime we're as hot as Phoenix, and neither is the case. Again, I'm sitting here looking at the thermostat. It's 66 right now here. So now that it was also 2 degrees on Monday morning.
Wow.
So, we get some major temperature swings in there, but again, we've got about a third more folks in the carbine class than we normally do this time of year. So we're seeing more folks in carbine. We've got another class that's called BRAVE, Ballistic Response Against Violent Encounters. And it's a combination of several things. It's street crimes, it's vehicle defense, it's home defense, it's grappling, it's a little bit of tactical medicine. We've seen a strong interest in that because it covers a wide gamut of things. Again, as people are realizing the world may not be the place they once thought it was, so they need to be able to take care of themselves. The TAC Med classes, when we originally developed it, it was based around a wartime model. Well, now we've changed it to a 2-day format, and it's based around like an active shooter format.
Yeah.
And we've seen a major increase in the folks attending that. So people are starting to recognize they need to take care of themselves and prepare for that.
Yeah. And hunting prep is not a huge part of what you do, but hunting is certainly up across the country. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah. Yeah, we've added that. We've always had safari and North American game courses. Some of our instructors are experienced in that. Some have led safari, so we can, and we have not live critters, but we've got the fake critters we can put out there. We can put the fake antelope or lion on the robot and drive it through the terrain while you're tracking it at 300 yards. But we also have added a 2-day, it's called hunter prep. We'd get folks come out, it's typically 2 to 4 weeks before hunting season, and they want to use our ranges to zero their hunting rifle. Well, we're a training academy. We're not an open range, so we don't allow that. But what we did decide, we'd offer this class, and it's a bargain, and I don't remember what the cost is, but I don't know, $400, I don't remember, for 2 full days of Gunsite instruction. And not only do you get to zero your hunting rifle, but you learn positional shooting. You learn really how to better operate your rifle. You get to shoot at some game targets or steel targets out at some distance. So when that big elk or whatever it happens to be comes into your field of view, maybe you will make that shot. So that's been an addition, and last year was the first year it went well, and this year we've already got people signing up for it, and it's in September. So that's but we've got, again, for 2021, we had more folks enrolled on January 1 of 2021 than we did in January 1 of 2020, significantly more.
Amazing.
So that's some of that is some of the folks that rolled over into this year, and some of it is just more of these new folks saying, I want to learn.
Yeah. You know, talking about students and classes and all that, something that maybe folks don't realize, we're, as gun owners, we're all being painted as these horrible, militia, crazed people. You guys have a strict ID policy, background check policy.
Absolutely. We always have. You've got to be able to show you've got a concealed carry weapons license, gun permit, whatever you want to call it, which means you've got a background check, or a recent NICS check. You purchased a gun, and it shows you had a recent NICS check, or you've got you have a professional license that required a background check. That way, we don't have improper people training. We don't want to train improper people by no means. So, yeah, we follow up on that. It's the people we have coming here are wonderful people that from all over the world. We still have ITAR made it more challenge for our foreign clients, our friendly foreign nation clients, but we still have some.
And the media is very much part of this problem. You guys are pretty aggressive whenever you get the opportunity to work with the media, because once they come out and find we shatter their notions of what they think shooters are, do you guys think maybe outreach more a little bit to the media? I know you guys just hosted somebody.
Well, I'll mention the name if it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're hoping the article comes out Friday or Monday, what I'm told, but Wired magazine. And Wired is very known as a liberal publication. Mm-hmm. Well, they called, and I said, sure, we'd love for you to come out. The only thing I ask of you or require of you is you write the truth. If we teach a class and we do a terrible job, you write that. But on the other hand, if we teach you and you have a great time and you learn a lot, we need you to write that also. And they have done a tremendous amount of due diligence. I exchanged emails again today with the fact checker. I spent a half hour or so on the phone with her yesterday and exchanged some more emails. So we're hoping that we can reach out to that audience and have these folks, again, realize, well, these are nice people. They aren't going to be yelling and screaming at me and have me do push-ups and pull-ups and, running laps and, with my rifle over my head and so on. So we do our best to work with the media. We want them to come. We want them to see. We want them to be able to write, video, blog, Twitter, all these kind of things saying, I came out here and this was great. I don't know if you remember, but we took the editor of the local newspaper to a gun show with us.
Oh, yeah.
You and I did.
Yeah.
And he wanted to be a gun guy, kind of, but he was very clearly a liberal, and he still is.
Yeah.
He's retired now, but he wrote his column after he attended and just said, I went to this huge gun show in Indianapolis, and I've never been around such a polite group of people.
Yep.
They were safe, and he was just astounded. And that's what the vast, vast majority of gun people are. So that's what we want to get across. But if somebody from Wired or Esquire or the New York Times or whatever, they want to send somebody out, sure, you come on out and we'll visit with you and we'll set you up, and all we want you to do is write the truth.
And, talking about new students, and yeah, we have a certain political bent, but there might be a statement made here, there, or yonder as people express their views, which they should be allowed to do, but there's no political indoctrination at all. No,
you've been through classes here. You know that. There is not. We teach mindset, gun handling, and marksmanship. Now, are we conservative-minded? Certainly we are. That's what we do, but we have fun about it. My saying is with the instructors is I want the customers, the clients, the students to get the show with dinner. It's adult education. If you're having fun, your learning curve rockets, and we are teaching these people something that if they need it like nothing else they've ever needed in their life, because they're protecting their lives and their loved ones' lives. So why do I want to offend somebody who has different political affiliation than I do? I don't. I want them to be able to learn. I want them to be able to take care of themselves. And again, hopefully I'll influence them a little bit in a positive way to think, well, maybe I shouldn't vote for this guy or that gal because of their stance on this. So
yep.
It's all opportunities.
Sticking with that theme, in my job, we tend to cater toward a certain audience that are perhaps more well-educated in firearms and shooting. But what I was going to say is it's amazing to me the number of emails and letters I get from people that they are the new gun owner, they are looking for training, but they are just so intimidated by all of it, ranging from just going into the gun shop, considering signing up for classes, going to the public range. You've got a great one-on-one forum right here, right now. If somebody is a new gun owner, maybe they are extremely politically progressive or whatever, but if you could sit down with them and say, look, here's what you need to do, what would you say?
Just go about it with an open mind. Don't have a prejudiced mind about it. This is going to be some redneck jerk that's, Billy Bob and so on. So have an open mind. The vast majority of people are polite professionals at the named schools. So do your due diligence. Go online, read about them, read what other people have posted on some of the different blogs out there, and make a selection there. Then call that school and talk to them and go from the feeling you get from them, right? That's how you and I stayed alive for all those years as cops, by trusting our gut instinct when we talk to people. Well, everybody's got that in them somewhere. So talk to them and see what you think, and then go and try. That's what you want to do. You want to go and give it that best effort, and you'll come away so much stronger. The term we use with a lot of the ladies' classes is you come away empowered because you realize I can do this and I can control certain aspects of my world. And as a result of that, I can be more comfortable. And that's a good thing to be able to do.
Exactly. You'll become a shooter. And if our politics don't align, oh, well, that's okay, as long as you're a shooter.
Yeah, that whether the politics align or not, it's can we make you safe? Can we make you a stronger shooter? Can we make you more aware of what the world is like? Well, the term Cooper used is we offer crisis management of close-range interpersonal confrontation. And that's a mouthful. Again, crisis management, a close-range interpersonal confrontation, but that's what it is. So why do you care if I'm a Republican, a Democrat, or an agnostic? It shouldn't matter as long as we're polite professional with each other. And it goes back to the old days of when you could still go to the coffee shop or the pub and talk politics without people getting all butthurt.
And unfortunately, I think that may be the key word for 2021. Everybody's butthurt about everything.
Yeah, seems to be.
One thing I was going to touch on, when we were talking about ammo, one thing that I can't seem to get across to people, I have not personally toured the federal ammunition plant in Minnesota, but I know many, many folks, as you do too, there's no secret conspiracy. They're not keeping ammo out of your hands. It's our fault. We are the people, our parents warned us about. You talk to guys, I just did the other day, hey, do you need any more primers? I said, no, I'm good for right now. Why? Did you get some more? Oh yeah, I found another 20,000 primers. I said, do you really need those? No, but I'm going to snatch them up. Okay. It's the same thing with when we had the Obama administration come in. There's no secret conspiracy. We're just buying ammo like crazy. I mean, That's my opinion anyway. What do you say?
What are they saying? There's 7 million new gun owners or whatever that figure is.
Yeah.
Right? So let's just pick 10 million for a round number. Well, if every one of those new gun owners buys 2 boxes of ammo, well, that's big numbers of ammo that probably was not anticipated in the supply chain in the last, when you're buying a year in advance, right? You're planning you're buying supplies for 2022 in January of 2021 and things radically change. Well, they can't keep up either. Their suppliers can't. So between the hoarding and then all these new gun owners, that clearly does create a problem. But folks do need to just relax a little bit and just buy what you need.
Yeah. Well, anything else before we shut this thing down?
No, it's always a pleasure visiting with you. I'll miss seeing you at SHOT Show and us seeing all our friends that we managed to meet up with there at SHOT Show, friends in the shooting industry, and catching up with them. I'm hoping that maybe at the NRA in Houston in the annual meeting, and I think they moved that now to September.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to maybe connect with some of those folks there. But just people, let's just keep calm, keep your head up, be aware, and don't. Well, let my friend John Farnham, who's a well-respected trainer, also a longtime Gunsite grad, don't go to stupid places, do stupid things with stupid people. That's just good. That's good life advice. And
on that, Ken, great to talk to you, and we'll be in touch soon.
All right. Hey, you know how I always close things? When are you coming to Gunsite?
And with that, we hope you're enjoying the Guns Magazine podcast. Please tell all your friends, even the gloating liberals. Guns Magazine is #1 in the business, and we're using our decades of friendships to bring you the most interesting chats in the gun world. If you've got questions or comments, please drop me a line. That's editor@gunsmagazine.com. Make sure you don't miss out on anything by subscribing to us wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Of course, you can always listen and download our episodes at gunsmagazine.com. And we'd all appreciate it if you'd share a favorite episode on your own social media channels. And while you're online, don't forget to check out our great sister publication, American Handgunner Magazine, at americanhandgunner.com. That's it for this episode of the Guns Magazine podcast. On behalf of our hardworking staff here at FMG Publications, I'm Guns Magazine editor Brent Wheat. Now get out there and get shooting.